having a container, it doesn't work. Or I'll tell you what else doesn't work. And stay with me for a second. Let's say you're holding at a post-conventional level of consciousness. You've gone through levels. Right? And then you engage someone in a committed mutual relationship, but ultimately where they are in consciousness is they're conventional or pre-conventional. Okay? What will you have? An explosion. Right? Because you think you're in this post-conventional vessel, right? Where you're kind of, listening deeply, right, to the ethos of the eros, right? And you've created this gorgeous post-conventional vessel, but actually the person you're engaging, right, is pre-conventional or conventional. So what's going to happen is, on the back end of the feminine or the masculine, when it breaks up, when they remember the relationship, they're going to interpret it through their own level of consciousness. Of course, right? And if that level of consciousness is pre-conventional or conventional, that's how it's going to be interpreted. So that's where we got to watch the play of this. You got to watch the play of this. In other words, it's a very fine play. It's a place where, when we kind of do ecstatic practice, and we're kind of holding this kind of post-conventional transpersonal vision, one of the things we can forget is, are people with us in the vision? Right? Have we created a kind of context which we're all sharing the vision? So that's a sense of, where this eros thing might go, where it might go, how it might unfold, right? How it might unfold. And let me just maybe finish with a story and then open it up to you. Just a last story. I want to take eros now kind of out of sexuality and weave it back to the eros that we talked about yesterday, in which the sexual models the erotic but doesn't exhaust the erotic. So I just want to introduce you to the high priest in the temple. And with that we'll close this piece. I'll do the introduction. I'll pass it right over to you, Tom. Okay? That work? Mm-hmm. Okay. So anyone here eat falafel? Yeah. Falafel people eat falafel. Great Middle Eastern food. So I was gone about 6-7 years to visit my son in camp in a place called Hadera in Israel, and there was a falafel stand. Israel's filled with falafel stands. Dan was just in Tel Aviv. You might have seen falafel stands, where they kind of quickly make falafel and you put it in the pizza and you put some hummus on it and it's really bad for you. You eat like an enormous amount of it. Right? And a falafel costs about, 25 shekels. 25 shekels is about, $8, $9. That's about what a falafel costs. So I'm kind of like, I don't like falafel. And I'm with a close friend in the car, right? And she says, there's that falafel stand across there. Let's go get falafel. I said, I don't like falafel. Why would we want to go get falafel? That just doesn't sound like a very good idea. She said, no, let's go get falafel. And she was somehow drawn by the man of this falafel. And I said, okay, we'll go get falafel, whatever. So we go across the street, and this little Moroccan man, 83 years old, 84, just a little small man. He's there, and he's just glowing. He's just, and he's making his falafels, and he makes the falafel, and he does it with enormous, kind of just gently, fast, kind of just plays in his hand. He makes the falafel, he gives it to me. I'm kind of half noticing that there's something kind of like wow about this person, but I'm kind of not fully noticing. I'm just kind of half seeing it. And he gives me the falafel, and I bite into the falafel, and I'm telling you, it was the taste of the Garden of Eden. I've never tasted food that good. And it was like, oh my God, right? I finished the falafel, just like in complete rapture, and I say to him, so kama zoleh? Like, how much? He says 6 shekel. 6 shekel for a falafel. How could that be? He says, that's what I need. That's what I need. That's the high priest. That's eros. That's eros. Right? And that is it. That is the falafel high priest. Right? That is to live in eros. Right? In every dimension of living. So the sexual is powerful, and that models the erotic. Right? But eros means to live in eros in every facet of being. The sexual is a particularly explosive and powerful container, and in it, right, we need to go through levels of consciousness and understand where are we. We need to be very careful of not confusing the pre-personal, right, and the transpersonal. Right? That confusion creates enormous explosion, and yet we don't want to get lost only in the personal. We want to know that the sexual, which models the erotic, opens us up to the transpersonal and its sacred, most gorgeous context. The cherubs are intertwined right above the ark. So I think we can kind of close the eros transmission here. I say we actually don't take a breath. We don't take a break, we take a breath. Thank you. We don't take a break, we take a breath. Tommy, we'll begin with you. if you're still there, and let's just kind of just like, you know, kind of have a gentle conversation, questions, thoughts, you know, comments, Q&A, so we can kind of bring this into our space and integrate it. Okay, Tom.
I only caught 3 levels in this discussion we just went through, but I remember there being 4 facets to Eros.
Right, and the 3 and the 4 are separate.
Okay.
Okay, good.
I thought there
good,
was
good,
like
good. I was already messed up the grid.
Well, one's a vertical dimension, the evolving qualities, right? And the other is the horizontal dimension, which are just the qualities. They're always apparent, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Interiority.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I'm just saying to Tom that they're not 4-4.
Ah,
Something like that. He thought we had missed one. We missed one there. Please, anyone. Slow. It's a big. So just kind of find. Hey.
How can you get to a transpersonal relationship with a person that's not there with you? How would that even evolve?
Great question, right? And you kind of feel in the room, right? Everyone kind of feels the question.
Next.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So the answer is no. Anyone else? Right. And of course, it's a great question. I can only tell you from my own life experience, right? You know, that I've had the privilege of getting this right and getting it wrong, at no small price. You know, my basic belief at this stage of life, I would have given you a different answer 4 years ago, but my basic belief at this stage of life is that if you're not both sharing a level of consciousness, it's not possible. Right?
Yeah.
It's just basically not
Makes
possible.
sense.
Right? If you're both not, if you both haven't evolved together, and that you actually have to be very, very discerning and careful, you know, careful in the most beautiful sense of care of the soul, you know, in choosing who one's partner should be, because ultimately we interpret our reality through the prism of our level of consciousness, and if we're at different levels of consciousness, right, the exact same encounter is going to be retroactively interpreted in a very, 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 very different way, right, much to the amazement.
I want to speak to this
Please, Dee.
issue. You know, I think it's really important that we make distinctions, that the teaching is ultimately about Eros and about connecting to Eros through whatever forms and what other objects invite us. It could be gardening, it could be art, it could be singing, whatever it is, and that sexuality is one vehicle because there's so much life force and because it's so sensual and intimate and human that it's a very powerful vehicle for awakening your spirituality and practicing your spirituality. And so then the question becomes, within the very powerful container of sexuality or within the broader container of relationship, you know, can you meet another in that energy if that person isn't there? It's a different kind of meeting. I want to answer committedly yes, that you can, and that we should. That when consciousness sees itself fully, it's a completely different thing, which is what Marc's talking about. So, but being sensitive to, because there's a spectrum from those that, whether it's in a sexual or just a friendship or just a work relationship, where our minds see each other. You know, we see each other, and because that consciousness is reflected and mirrored, and there's a kind of an enhancement of being through the fact that consciousness is seeing itself. So that's one end, and it could be in an erotic relationship, a work relationship, a love relationship, doesn't matter. And then there's the other end of the spectrum, which is where we integrate those relationships with people in our lives who we are never going to meet in this space, right? I mean, parents we've had falling out with, ex-spouses who, for whatever reason, we got so stuck. And then learning how to love and be in the third stage in sweetness, even in relationship to someone who's not in sweetness with you. That is a really profound practice also. And in some ways, it's a little bit more of the heavy lifting in life. And I think doing that work often prepares you to be able to arrive in this one, is what I found in my own experience. So.
I want to kind of make I want to make a distinction, right?
Okay.
In other words, I want to actually hold to my response.
Okay.
And let's make a distinction. And
Is it
maybe,
both and?
maybe you know, I think it is actually a both and in a deep way, because it depends on what we're talking about. It depends on how we understand your question.
Right.
Okay. So let me try and kind of be very, very kind of explicit and clear. Okay. If you're holding a conventional vessel, marriage, for example, or committed partnership,